All right, welcome everyone. The waiting room has slowed down just a little bit, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us for our first Take a Break with AE of the semester. These are just supposed to be quick little snippets of news from the department. So we're glad you're joining us this afternoon. We have Department Head Jonathan Friend on today, and he's going to give us the department overview or, state of the union for our department today. So Jonathan, go ahead.
Hi everyone. Thanks for joining me. Wave or something, Courtney, if things aren't clear on your end. This is sort of an overview. It's sort of just what was on my mind and I wanted to share with you. We should be pretty quick, and there might be time for questions at the end if there's things you wanted to hear about that it doesn't cover. It's just kind of a waltz through the department, and some bits will be quite quick. Just some news. Recently, we had a few promotions. We had 3 of our associate professors get promoted to full professor, and this is a big step in their career. It kind of corresponds to kind of international preeminence within a domain of research. And we have one new that's Tim Brettel, Marco Panesi, and Josh Rovey. And we have one new faculty hire recently, and this is Ellie Robluski, who is our first teaching professor in the department, and they've just joined and are currently teaching their first courses for us. We've hired a new undergraduate advisor recently. We have another person in the shop, and we have a new lab manager joining the team. Just letting you know some things. We lost Kai James. He left us to go to Georgia Tech for family reasons, and it's a good fit for him. We had a shop tech, Dasu, left to Penn State, Harrisburg. He became a professor there, and everyone applauded him. We feel like we placed him well in a professor job. It's definitely a step up, and one of our shop staff retired. And I guess you've probably gotten emails from us, but we lost Harry Hilton this year, who first stepped on campus as an instructor in 1949, and he passed this last spring, still teaching a course at the time. And this is a picture from recently, and then from the mid 60s when he was here. And I'm not going to try to eulogize him and say all the things we missed, but one of the most striking things about being in this job is talking to people who graduated 50 years ago and how they emphatically still remember their interactions with Harry. And it kind of just motivates us to do a good job interacting and providing an experience for our students. Another piece of news, we have just stood up, and you might have gotten an alumni email or some sort of email, depending on what category you are. New Center for Sustainable Aviation. And so this is going to provide a framework for paths to make flight more sustainable, so more environmentally sustainable, but that also links with social sustainability and economic sustainability too. There's nothing like efficiency to save both money and the environment at the same time, for example. Phil Ansel is the director of this center, and it's going to be a focal point for research, and there are options to look at policy within it and partner with industry. He's now teaching a course in sustainable aviation, and there's a lot of excitement. We have new students, new undergraduates coming in wanting to work in this area, so it's an exciting direction for the department. So if you're interested in helping with this, spread the word. Send students if you're out in industry who want to tool up in these areas. We're planning to develop a certificate in this. Help us make industrial connections. A lot of industry is wanting to bring sustainability. Boeing and many companies are adding sustainability officers to their C-suite. Promote policy that continues to push for sustainability, and don't hesitate to reach out. Another piece of news from the last 6 months or so, we have a new high enthalpy facility called Plasmatron X. And so this is to study re-entry flows. And so entry into the atmosphere or any hypersonic flight. And so this is a planetary return mission or a military application where you're going so fast that the object heats significantly. And so here's the facility. It's called a plasmatron. It generates a very special plasma flow that basically gives you the conditions of these high-speed flights. This next one just gives you a sense of what goes on in a facility like this. This is a fiberglass piece of material in this flow, and this is real time, and it's heating up and obviously melting and coming apart. And there's a steel screw even here in the middle that you'll see melts a little bit further, and this is matching an entry type flight condition. And so designing materials that are supposed to come apart when they should, or not come apart when you don't want them to, or slowly ablate to survive an entry process. This is a really unique facility. It's the largest of its kind in the nation, and it's on our campus. Another piece of big research news, Jeff Bauer, who joined roughly a year ago from AFRL, just purchased a new additive manufacturing machine. So 3D printer is a way to think of that, but this one prints fiber composites, so they're strong. And I put this up, it's not the best picture, but it gives you a scale. And so it can print parts that are 2.77 meters long. So I've told Jeff I want a new desk of a fiber composite printer, and you could actually fit it in this. And it's going to have all sorts of uses. There'll be research in how best to use these machines, and then also abilities to use them in the department to print aircraft components, say, or rocket components. And this gives you a better sense of how big the arm is, because these are people, and this is the arm that extends up to here. So it's really a human scale 3D printer. And I kind of highlighted quickly these three kind of major research efforts. Every faculty member in the department can put together slides that talk about a whole wealth of exciting different research. And I just grabbed 6 of them kind of randomly from a recent faculty retreat we had, where we all gave a 1-slide presentation to just kind of keep up to date with what people are thinking about their research in the department. I'm not going to attempt to talk through these, but don't just think of the high profile, the big things I went through. Everyone has a whole suite of large and small efforts they're working on, all 26 of us, I guess, on the faculty. Overall, we're doing great. And there are lots of different ways to measure that. We certainly are attracting students, and we've been continuing to grow our undergraduate population rapidly in recent years. So here are the 4 most recent years. We basically opened a gate here. There were a lot of students who were Illinois level, they can get in, and they look like great students, and they wanted to do aerospace. And so we started letting more and more of them into the program so we could have more impact on people. And we've been really trying to be mindful of maintaining our sense of community as we grow through this. And I'll actually show you some of the other things that we're doing in that regard. That's our undergrads. This was the current freshman classes they came in, or the subset that were around for the picture. There are a lot of them, is the bottom line here. And they're just a great bunch of people, very excited to have them in the department. And the graduate population is also growing, kind of actually maybe even a higher fractional growth. There are kind of 2 flavors of that growth. The number of PhDs is increasing, and this is very closely linked with the faculty research in the department. And it's because our research enterprise is growing is one reason that we're supporting more PhD students. And we're also attracting more MS, MN students who want to come back to retool in one area or another, or just want to stay on and top off their BS with MS, say, from us, or come here from somewhere else, or even just stay for that 5th year. So both of those are going on. I mentioned the growing research enterprise. This is our research expenditures this is grants controlled by PIs in aerospace, and it's just taking off. And the hypersonics work, the sustainable aviation work are cornerstones of that, but it's really a broad base that's leading to this growth. The faculty, there are 26 of us currently, arranged into some areas. It's a slowly evolving team as things are in academia. Ellie is here, Jeff Bauer is there, a couple of our more recent additions, and they're just doing great, highly collaborative environment. And we really depend on our staff. Here's Courtney, for example, who puts this together. Here's Audrey, who's our new undergraduate advisor, because we needed to take care of our new undergrads that are coming in. Jenna is fairly new to the department as a grad program, and we're actually searching for a second grad advisor to handle that. A couple open positions, a couple technical staff positions that we're filling in the near future. We're paused for more strategic growth too. We have ads out for multiple tenure track faculty currently, meaning basically we're trying to fill positions. Most the ads are kind of like aligned with positions. Actually, most of them are identified by not by like reading ads, but by word of mouth and reputation. We have two professors we'll probably like to hire 2 professors of practice. We have 1 pending offer, which I'm still optimistic about, and we'd like to add another one beyond that, which would bring us up to 4. And this is a great interface with our undergraduates and kind of bridging to the needs of industry in a sense. A second teaching professor would be great for our curriculum also. And as I said, we're looking for that second graduate coordinator. So we're also growing the faculty and staff to support this team. We will need space, of course, and by space, of course, we have to, in aerospace, we have to specify, we're talking about the square foot kind. And so there's several projects I'm really excited to tell you about. Some of you know about these, of course, but it might be more news to others. We did finally have our official ribbon cutting. You've been hearing about the Talbot Annex for a long time, but we did have a fun event to actually cut this ribbon and open that up. And student groups set up. We had important people walking around the buildings, and a couple of students groups, ISS and Design, Build, Fly, talking to people. These people are actually inside the addition, outside the old Talbot, which is why there's a brick wall here. And just to remind you, there's 3 levels to the new addition. There's a basement level where the additive and composites manufacturing lab is expanding. The second floor is where our undergraduates are building satellites. Mike Lembeck, who's on, I see Lassie Lab is there. And the second floor is less interesting, NPRE. It's NPRE's lab. And we have a great new conference room too on the second floor that we have. Other new space, and this is stuff that's in progress now. So this is sort of hot off the presses. If you're all familiar with Talbot Lab, you would walk off the quad, come up some steps, and there used to be a classroom, or it was a classroom in front of you. It was room 103, and behind that there are actually 2 more classrooms. We, as a department, acquired all of this space, and we're turning it into a drone lab. And so we acquired it. Demolition started in August, and so this is a picture, I don't know, from September. So we're taking out all the walls in there, and it's going to look like this. So now you're going to come off the quad. There are going to be large windows there, and on the other side of that is going to be a flight area with motion capture and a place in nets and so on for drones, or a place to clamp down a drone and a larger vehicle, clamp it down and test it out. And then the back room will be where you design, build, and program them. We'll teach our 483 course here, but there also will be research. So we kind of envision it as Lassie-like, the satellite lab, but for air, so flight vehicles. And so this is where that's heading, and I hope to show you pictures of it completed, maybe into the new year. These things always seem to take a little longer than we expect, though they are working on it continuously right now. Another exciting thing is that a lot of our undergrads spent over the last maybe 15, maybe 20 years, spent a lot of time in this room, 321D on our 3rd floor. And this was called the Aero Lab, or the Aero Computer Lab. And we had a lot of computers that run CAD software here. And basically, we're essentially doubling our undergraduate population. We're outgrowing it. And students were I asked them a lot of questions about this. They really wanted more tables and so on to work collaboratively at. And at the same time that Lassie moved out from this area out to the new place it has in the annex, there is little, I call it, since no one works here anymore, a dark warren of offices that I found somewhat oppressive with narrow hallways. And several of the other offices were also coincidentally empty at this time. And so we've acquired it, and we took out all the walls, and this is what it's going to be like. So all those computers from the 3rd floor are going to come down here, and this will be the computer lab Plus, we'll have something like 48 chairs around tables for collaborative work and some more kickback lounge chairs type things. And we're going to use it as a dynamic space and continue to adapt it to serve student needs and try to maintain the community, which has been so valuable to the department and among our students. And so this is a picture from about the time it was supposed to be done in September, but it's soon. They're about to lay the carpet squares. The ceiling's all painted and finished up now. The new lights are hung now. And so it's really possible that this will be done in a matter of a couple of weeks. We have the furniture just waiting to be delivered for it. So I'm very excited about this. We added a postdoc visitor office, maybe less exciting for everyone, but important for the way the department works, where a visitor can come in and we can find a desk for them that's appropriate for a visiting professor or for a more senior researcher, such as a postdoc. And we also have new space in what's OPAL. You might ask what OPAL is. It stands for Optical Physics and Engineering Laboratory. And so this is space we did not occupy before, but it's this little building. So this is Talbot Lab, where we mostly live. When I was talking about coming off the quad, it was this quad here. It's just across the street. If you have been to campus, it's this building behind Jerusalem Restaurant, but it's a university building, and we're converting the upstairs of it, a large mezzanine area, I think nearly 2,000 square feet for all our student groups and the build teams up there, plus some kind of dirty rooms and some laser cutter rooms for some of their tools. And then the center of the building is high, so it's a double height. The center from the upstairs is open, and that's where that 3D printer is. And we had grabbed a couple other offices over there for that. And so we're expanding over here, and yes, we have our eye on the rest of the building, and we'll ask for it as soon as we have a need for it to acquire it. It's almost impossible to photograph this upstairs area, but this is standing here looking this way, and this now is full of tables and benches and shelves for our RSOs. We need to update our photos on that. And we're refreshing the third floor. So if you've seen the third floor, it was getting a little dated, and it's being painted now. It's still not quite done. We have Post-its where it's indicating what color some things will be, but we got some new signage. It's looking great. And we're also going to do the same thing to the basement. If you're at all familiar with the old part of the basement, it's kind of dungeon-like, and we're going to make it less dungeony over the next 6 months and make it also give it a kind of modern look to it. So that's a tour, and I'm very excited about these projects, and I think it's going to really serve our mission and the students well. I'm just going to say one last thing, and just one more slide on this. We've been really pushing the inclusivity of aerospace, trying to bring more people from more diverse backgrounds into it and expand our impact. We have a committee that's dedicated to finding ways to this. This is just faculty and staff that are on that committee. And it's holistic. They're focusing on a department-wide culture of inclusion. And I've let all the faculty know and staff that we're probably going to all end up serving on it at times in the future, and that everyone's responsible for helping it succeed. You'll see this in our communications. You can find a lot more about this on our website. Things are changing to the very fabric of the university. I and other department heads are asking faculty what they've done to improve inclusivity, because in order to have the maximum impact as a scholar, you have to reach the most people. And so we're asking them about that. We're coordinating with student groups, new and established ones, to understand the issues and figure out ways to improve things. Very conscious of our attention to student culture, especially when they join the department, try to get things off the right foot. And we're interfacing with our alumni to try to understand the workspaces that await people, and try to show our students that diverse workspace might await them. So I hope to be able to report continued progress in this difficult problem in the future. That's what I put together. Targeted about 20 minutes, which is where we are. I'd be glad to stay on as long as Courtney lets us answer any questions. There were a couple that came in advance that I could try to try to talk about also, if anyone has any. One that came in advance was a question about, and this is, I find this a really interesting question. Do you have any initiatives to improve the science/communication skills, science communication skills of AE students for professional growth and outreach? This is a great question because no matter how well you understand the stuff, it gets kind of useless really quickly if you can't communicate it effectively. And communication is a two-way thing. The more effectively you can communicate, often the more effectively you can ask the right questions to understand something better, and the more collaboratively you can work. And so in some sense, the answer is no. We don't have any explicit initiative in this way, but it is happening, and it's kind of just, it's so woven into our fabric that it's advancing in this way. The students are held to very high standards in their presentations, in their senior design courses, the write-ups in their lab courses, for example. And this is maybe the most important thing in this regard, is several of our courses are pushing to be more project-based, less the old model of problem sets and exams, and more towards developing a story through the semester and writing it up really with depth and with some autonomy in exactly how it evolves, and then being held to a high standard about how it's presented and conveyed at the end, both with written stuff and oral communications. And this is really pushing the communication skills of our students. There are two courses that I can just off the top of my head. One is 370, which is a numerical methods class, and Andre Goza pioneered this project-based course, and Hui Tran, another faculty member, is joining him in that, and kind of being the other one who teaches that course. Another one is 412, which is in my area, it's a fluid mechanics course, and Tess Saxon Fox has been trying out this project-based approach too. I also feel that anything we do to promote our RSOs and give them space to accomplish what they want to do on their own promotes communication in an indirect way. They need to raise money for their project. They need to present it well. And so that's also an indirect way of helping with this. But I really like this question. As you can tell, I feel like I could talk about it all day. And it's actually made me think, should we be more explicit in this or not? I see some charts, a couple chats here. Is there, I see there is a campus program. So we have an interface with that, and I'm not very familiar with it. I do know a faculty member who was involved deeply in this sort of thing, and maybe we should take a look at that. This is a great question. It's really made me think about it. Another question that came in was about road vehicle drag, and especially with regard to electric vehicles and how drag is so important for their range. Well, drag is important even for traditional gasoline vehicles because it reduces the gasoline that's required. And so we provide great fundamentals for wind tunnel testing and drag optimization, and the auto industry often borrows those. And so we have good core skills for this. And I think our students could get a job in this space fairly easily. There are some nuances with it. The bottom of most wind tunnels doesn't move, whereas it does relative to the car, which is actually a subtle thing. And so you do need to modify a wind tunnel to really capture that effect. There's an interesting anecdote here that there was a tradition of research in road vehicles, in particular F1 vehicles. Michael Selig, who's emeritus now, who was an active faculty member for a long time, worked in what was known as low Reynolds number airfoils, and he consulted for Formula One teams. And there was once a Formula One car that had a front airfoil that was Urbana and a back airfoil that was named Champagne. So they had the Urbana and Champagne airfoil. I think that was over 25 years ago. So there's an interesting intersection there right now. Are there any, I'm looking at those here. Are there opportunities for visiting alumni to speak to students? Yes, Lynn, thanks for reaching out. The A100 course loves people to come in and present about where they've gone and what they've done, for example. Reach out to Courtney or myself, and I can pass you on to someone who might be interested in that. Other avenues. Oh, I forgot the name of it. We have you know, Courtney, what do we call it? The one with the fairly recent alumni that kind of network.
So we have a couple of programs in the department, and I am in charge of those. And so if you're interested at all in talking with students, just shoot me an email or send me a message through LinkedIn or something, and we can chat about which one is most appropriate. We have a program called Illini Aero Connections, where we select topics that we think enhance the curriculum that the students receive here at Aero, but maybe address some topics that we can't really address in the actual coursework. So, and we develop panels to discuss those topics with our students, and also offer some professional development kind of topics and things like that. So we have an AE networking program that's not really student focused, that is more networking across alumni. That's a new program that we just started that we can plug people in. And then of course our professors are always looking for industry partners to be special speakers in class. So if any of those interest you, please reach out to me. We are always looking for more ways to engage our alums.
And I'll just add one more too. If you're in a niche area that intersects with some of our student groups, we could also hook you up with the head of the Space Society or the Design Build Fly, depending on what your interests are. So thanks for the interest. Are there any other questions? Oh, I see Julia asked, where's the plasmatron located? So that's interesting. It's actually off campus in Creative Thermal Solutions, which is, since I know you're local in the same, it's a little bit north of 74 over by where Cunningham crosses 74. And it's Creative Thermal Solutions. It's done provided a lot of infrastructure for research and development for air conditioning technology and similar things. And they put together the power requirements, the cooling requirements in very short order, because a lot of money came in to build that facility and they wanted to turn it around very quickly. That was the best place to locate it. And it's been working out fantastically. Not seeing any more questions come in. Maybe we should wrap it up. It's great seeing everyone. I hope you're seeing exciting things here. Definitely reach out and stay in touch, and look forward to intersecting with you in the future sometime.
All right. Thank you everyone for joining us, and watch your email for our next Take a Break with AE. If you have something you'd like to hear from the department, please send me a chat or an email, and we'll discuss that and see if we can't develop another quick afternoon chat for you.